Hello everyone, and welcome to the Fictional Vortex. So we are back with an interesting movie on what if Naruto was anscestor of 4 powerful warriors. But before we start, I just want to remind you to please subscribe to my channel and hit the like button if you enjoy my content. Let's start the story. A blonde-haired boy could be seen walking towards an army, not a trace of fear visible in his bright blue eyes. His usually grinning face set into a grimace, and blood covering up the whisker-shaped marks on each side of his face. His forehead protector barely hanging on by a thread. His orange and blue jumpsuit looked like it had seen better days. Hell, his shirt was burned off and his jacket was just sleeves on his arms. The boy walking forward ignored the calls from his teammates and his sensei, and focused on the grinning fresh army. He, staring the leader of the army in the eyes, pulled out his last kunai and narrowed his eyes. The leader, a tall man, holding a machete, spotting the boy, laughed very loudly and said, "You think my mighty army is afraid of a single kunai and a lowly genin?" The boy said nothing but continued to stare down the man and army, never noticing the faint aura of black energy surrounding him. He then, turning his head, placed his vision solely on the dead member of his team. A black-haired boy with coal-black eyes and pale skin was laying there with wide eyes and a huge hole in his chest. He then, moving his eyes to his sensei, who was in shock that one of his students had died. Finally his eyes landed on his crush, staring at the black-haired boy with wide green eyes and a trembling lip. He, turning back around, set his eyes on the leader once more, the entire reason his team was in this mess in the first place. He, closing his eyes, thought back to what his former teacher, big brother figure, told him to do when he was first learning to draw out his chakra. Taking calming deep breaths, he was trying to steady his body, knowing that his chakra was most likely running low from all of the missed sleep, skipped meals, and the battle. His eyes widened, feeling something powerful bubbling beneath the surface of his body. He, gently prodding it, was floored, feeling the massive amount of pure energy it was. He was about to leave the power alone, when he heard a whisper of a voice he remembers from long ago encourage him to use the power. He, listening to the voice, tapped into the power, and was instantly dragged into his mind. He, opening his eyes, blinked, spotting 4 people, a motorcycle, a hammer, 2 swords, and an urn in front of him. The first person was a man appearing to be in his early 20s with long straight blonde hair, a rugged face, tan skin, and crystal blue eyes. He was very muscular and was dressed in what looked like old armor with 4 metal plates on it. He also had a red cape. The second man actually terrified Naruto, as he had a flaming skull for his head, with no eyes. He was dressed in a black shirt, with a black leather jacket over that. He had fingerless black gloves on his hands, and wrapped around his upper torso was a flaming chain. He had on a pair of black jeans, and thick black boots. He was leaning against the motorcycle, which was also flaming. The third man had long silver-white hair, pale skin, golden slitted eyes, purple marks on his face, and a purple crescent moon in the middle of his head. He had on a white kimono top with pink sakura petals blossoming on the front and right shoulder. This was attached to a silver chest plate with 2 spikes on the it. Flowing behind it was a long white furry thing. He had on white kimono pants that were tucked into the bottom. His ears were pointed and he had claws on each hand. Attached to his hip was 2 very powerful swords. On his feet were black shoes. The last of the 4 men looked to be in his late 50s with long black hair, crystal green eyes, a black goatee, and pale skin. Sitting on the top of his head was a wide-rimmed black hat. He had on a black top with matching black pants. On each feet were black boots. Tattoos were covering both his arms and some could be seen on his neck. Sitting on his left shoulder was a black crow that was staring at Naruto with eerie red eyes. Sitting on a pedestal behind the man was a golden urn. Naruto, looking at all 4 men and their perspective items, was wondering who the hell they were and why were they here. The first man, smiling at him, said, "Greetings, young one, my name is Thor and I am the god of lightning. My hammer is named Mjolnir and can only be wielded by the one worthy of the title of god of lightning. I died centuries ago, but before I died I asked the death god to allow me to see the person who would become the new god of lightning. It seems you are the one." The skull man, shaking his head, spoke in a raspy voice, "I am Johnny Blaze, and I am the Ghost Rider. Like Thor, I lived long ago, and was cursed by the devil to walk the earth as his bounty hunter, who, whenever evil was near, was forced to transform into the form I died defending the world from a great evil. Like Thor, before I died I asked death to allow me to speak with the person who would take up the name of Ghost Rider after me. It seems you are destined to be the new Ghost Rider. The silver-haired man, looking at him with bored eyes, said, My name is Sessamaru and I the son of the great demon lord of the West Inu no Teisho. I lived a very long and interesting life, way before Thor or Johnny Blaze. I died fighting a powerful demon for the safety of my little girl. Like the other two I asked death if I could speak to the one destined to be the new ruler of the western lands. It seems that you are the one, but it also seems as you are a descendant of my little girl. The last man, looking at Naruto, said, I am the Undertaker. I was a powerful warrior, with many enemies. I lived before Thor and Johnny Blaze in a time where technology was more advanced. I had many nicknames, but the one most knew me as was the Dead Man. I died of old age, a natural cause. Death, noticing how powerful I was, decided to allow me to speak to the one who was destined to take up my powers. It seems as that is you. There is no need to inform us of who you are. We have been here since your first day. It is time for you to awaken your slumbering powers. Become who you are meant to be, Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto, with wide eyes, was then ejected from his mind. He, opening his eyes on the outside, blinked, realizing that a second had passed on the outside. His mind was then bombarded with images from the four beings in his mind lives. He witnessed all of their powers, all of their weaknesses, he even witnesses all of their deaths. Shaking his head, he dropped the kunai from his hand, and lifted his hand into the air. He then whispered, Come to me, Mjolnir. Lightning then struck as the hammer from Thor's memories came flying towards his hand. He, clasping his hand around the handle, lifted it into the air, and ignored as Thor's armor appeared on him, with a major color change. It was now black, with the cape being purple. The four metal circles had the image of a swirling leaf on the first one, the image of a nine-tailed fox in the second one, the third one had the image of ramen in it, and the fourth one had the image of a thick forest. Naruto, lowering the hammer, felt his blue eyes start to burn. He, moving his hand to them, rubbed them. He, feeling the burning stop, removed his hands. He then felt his hair grow until it reached midway his shoulders. He, looking at it, blinked, spotting his platinum blonde hair. The final thing that he felt happen was his body to gain muscles and get taller. He then, looking at the leader, remembered what was going on. He, snorting, dashed forward, being nothing but a black blur. He, appearing in front of the leader of the army, smashed his new hammer into the man's face, killing him instantly. He then, spinning around, grabbed a man by his throat and choke slammed the man, snapping his neck, killing him instantly. He then, grabbing another of the thugs, ripped the man's head apart. Turning to a fourth man, he looked the man in the eyes and turned into a blackened corpse, with glowing orange lines covering his entire body. He then, picking up his hammer, said, Come at me. The thugs roared and launched at Naruto, thinking that the numbers would help them. They were sadly mistaken, mainly when Naruto opened up his mouth and breathed out a torrent of flames, turning every thug into ash, along with their weapons. Naruto, closing his mouth, turned to look around, blinked, finding the army now dead. He, smiling at this, hooked Mjolnir to his belt, then passed out, into the waiting arms of his sensei. Kakashi, looking down at Naruto, smiled and said, Good job, Naruto, you got us out of this hairy situation. Rest easy, my student. 3 days later, Naruto would wake up and groan as his eyes were instantly assaulted with the color white. He then covered his nose as it was then assaulted by the smell of cleaning products. He knew that he was now in a hospital. He, shaking his head, opened his eyes again and noticed Sakura in the chair beside his bed, looking like a mess. He, turning his head, blinked, spotting what looked like Konoha outside of the window. He, getting up out of the bed, walked to the window and peered out of the window. How was it that they were back in the village, hidden in the leaves, when they were at least 3 days' travel from the village? He then turned his head, hearing the door open. He blinked, spotting Sarutobi Hiruzen, or the old man, standing beside his sensei Hitaki Kakashi. Naruto then heard Sakura yawn. He, ignoring this, asked, Kakashi-sensei, are we really back in Konoha? Kakashi, eyes smiling, said, Yes, we are, Naruto. Now please sit down so that the Hokage and I can brief you on what has happened in the 3 days you've been unconscious. Naruto, nodding, sat down in the bed, noticing how Sakura looked better now that he was awake. Sarutobi, taking a seat, sighed and said, First off, congratulations on completing an A-rank mission. You have been paid handsomely for doing so. Now then. It took Kakashi 2 days to get you here along with Sakura. Sasuke's body was sealed into a scroll for sake keeping. Once here, you were instantly transported to the hospital, and looked over. I arriving not too much later then asked what the hell had happened. Kakashi then explained that the mission was a trick, and what happened. He also explained what you did. Now this is the part that may shock you, but I had your eyes scanned and it turns out you now have an unknown dujutsu. We have no idea what it does, but the council has voted that it must be valuable. So you have been placed into the village as a new clan. This also means you have been forced into the Clan Restoration Act. This means that you must have at least 6 wives by the time you turn 16. You've got 3 years. Since there are no more Uchihas, you have been given that compound, which has been cleaned for you. The hammer that you brought with you for some reason could not be moved, so it was sealed into your wrist. The last thing that I must inform you of is that Team 7 is now a 3-man team, with 2 genin and 1 jonin. Naruto hearing this rolled his eyes and asked, "Oh gee, now I have to find 6 women willing to marry me, not because of my clan head status." He then face-palming said, "I hate my life." Kakashi giggled at this, while Sakura smiled at Naruto still being him. Sarutobi just shook his head. A day later and Naruto was sitting at Training Ground 7 waiting for Kakashi to show up. Sakura was sitting beside him reading a scroll he had gotten her from the library about medicine. Naruto, already planning to make Kakashi help Sakura out, had also planned on working on the skills he had gained, and maybe figuring out what his new dujutsu did, and maybe giving it a name. Kakashi arriving was about to make up an excuse but blinked, not hearing Sakura or Naruto yell at him about being late. He looking at his 2 students, blinked spotting Sakura reading from a scroll, while Naruto stared at the clouds in the sky. He announcing his presence was about to inform the 2 of them that he was going to be training them, when Naruto said, "Kakashi Sensei, I've got some things I need to work on, including my dujutsu, so help Sakura out. Yano boost her skills and help her with medicines and maybe get her a genjutsu or 2. Kakashi blinked and asked, "Is that what you want, Naruto?" Naruto standing up popped his shoulder, nodded and said, "Yeah, Sakura-chan feels like she is useless, but I don't want her feeling that way, so I got her started in medicine. Maybe she can become a medical ninja, and you can help her learn some genjutsu and some additional jutsu. Hopefully that help her out and boost her confidence." He then walked off, never even noticing that Sakura had heard every word that he had said, and was now crying at how selfless and awesome he had just sounded. Kakashi, eyes smiling at Naruto's retreating form, said, "He's going to be Hokage one day. I can feel it in my bones." He turning to Sakura smiled even more and said, "You're going to be right beside him, as today we kickstart your training." Sakura with flames of determination in her eyes said, "Let's do this, Kakashi-sensei." A month later and the new and improved Team 7 was in the Hokage's office as Sarutobi informed them of Team 8 needing backup in the Land of Waves. Apparently Kurenai and her team had ran into the demon of the hidden mist Momochi Zabuza and Raiga of the 7 swordsmen of the mist and needed help. Naruto hearing this asked, "Momochi Zabuza, isn't he the one they call the demon of the mist?" Kakashi nodding said, "Yeah, that's him, Naruto. Why?" Naruto cracking his neck said, "He just might have enough marks on his soul for my dujutsu to turn him into ash. Hell, if not him then maybe this Raiga person." Sakura hearing this said, "Naruto-kun, you're not supposed to be using your dujutsu like that unless you have full control over it. Last time you used it you wiped out that entire bandit camp and transformed into a walking flaming skeleton." Naruto hearing this said, "I know, Sakura, but this time I'll be able to focus it, besides I'm going to be using my storm powers mostly to combat Raiga and his powers anyway." Kakashi nodding said, "That he will, Sakura. Now then let's get a move on." Both teens nodding said, "Hi." Once they left the office Sarutobi shook his head wondering if Sasuke's death was a good thing for this team or not. Naruto sitting in the ramen stand was getting a bowl for the road and offering his prayers to the gods above. He was also trying to hide from the fangirls he had gained once the village learned of what he did on their last mission. He shivering understood completely why Sasuke always ran away from the plague known as fangirls. They stalked you and were mostly useless. His only help from them was Ayame, who had beat a couple of the more desperate fangirls off with a frying pan. Shaking his head, he wondered if Ayame should be his first girl, as she was definitely not into him because of his clan status or his dujutsu. He shrugging got up, downed the last of his ramen and took off towards the meeting point so he could meet Sakura and Kakashi. He reaching the gate, nodded to both of them and gained a serious look on his face. All three shinobi then took off, heading to Wave to help Team 8 with their mission. Sakura was thinking, this time I'll be more helpful and show Naruto-kun just how much stronger I've become with Kakashi-sensei helping me. Kakashi was thinking, hold on Team 8. We're on our way to help you. I don't think Kurenai would be able to stand if one of her students died. Naruto was thinking, hold on guys, help is on the way. This time no one is going to die. Zabuza Momochi, Raiga, you two had better say your prayers cause your dead men walking. Team 7 jumping through the trees were talking a strategy if they came across any enemies before they reached Wave. Sakura would hit them with a genjutsu, Kakashi or Naruto would then take the enemy out. So far they had only come across the scene of a battle, and honestly Naruto could tell that Team 8 had dominated the battle. He bled a large body of water. He turning to Kakashi said, the two of us can walk across the water, but Sakura-chan still has 2 small chakra coils to do so. Kakashi nodding said, one of us will have to carry her across. Naruto smiling said, I'll do it sensei. He then turning to Sakura smiled and offered her his back. She smiling back at him climbed on his back. Snuggling into his strong back, and placing her head in his ocean-smelling hair she said, I love how your hair smells Naruto-kun. Naruto standing up smiled and said, thanks Sakura-chan. He and Kakashi then started running across the water, Kakashi still reading his book. Reaching the other side of the water, Naruto decided to continue to carry Sakura. Walking on the land, he blinked spotting signs of a heavy battle. He walking towards a scorch mark, blinked spotting someone's blood. Checking it out he said, Kakashi-sensei, this is the blood of one of the members of Team 8. It looks like they got hit with a rather nasty lightning jutsu. Kakashi nodding said, the slash marks on the trees indicates that Zabuza was pinned to the tree by someone. Naruto nodding said, let's hurry to the client's home so Sakura can help out whoever is in pain. Kakashi nodding walked towards Tezuna's home, with Naruto right behind him. Reaching the home, Naruto narrowed his eyes spotting the many bugs in front of the home. Kakashi spotting this called out, yo, it's Team 7, here to back you guys up. The bugs moving, revealed a brand new iron door, with scorch marks on the side. The door opening revealed a frayed Shino, a puffy-eyed Kurenai and an angry Kiba. Kakashi spotting their state asked, what has happened since you sent for backup? Kurenai said, they attacked here and kidnapped Hinata and Tezuna's grandson. Naruto hearing this closed his eyes and said, stop your crying. Kurenai-sensei, I swear on my life and my honor as the future god of thunder that I will not only rescue Hinata-chan and Tezuna's grandson, but I will purge Raiga and Zabuza from this world with my own hands. Naruto opening his eyes revealing his blazing orange and black eyes said, I will free this village, know this country of the tyranny of Gado and his many illegal dealings. For every sin that he has committed, his soul will burn. None who are wicked shall be able to stand before the might of the eyes of justice. Sakura climbing off his back couldn't help but stare at Naruto with a small blush on her face. She and the others watched as Naruto's hair became alive with flames. He pointing his fingers in the direction of the incomplete bridge said, I will be the flames that keep that bridge and all of its workers safe. I will be the beacon of light for all that cry out for justice. I will be angel of hope that descends upon this village. I will be the bosom that nourishes the weak and inspires them to rise up and take up arms against their oppressors. He pulling his hammer out said, this is not just my word, but the word of Kami herself. With this mark one swear. He then swinging his hammer down on the ground, made a leaf swirl appear where it had hit. Lightning then struck around the leaf and everyone gasped when the kanji for oath and Kami's law appeared. Naruto putting his hammer back said, now then Sakura-chan please attend to the injured. Kakashi-sensei will create clones that will scope out the village. He turning to Shino said, call back your bugs, I'll make sure this house stays hidden. Shino for some reason called his bugs back ignoring the words of Kiba. Naruto nodding at this started twirling his hammer and cried out, call me Thor, god of thunder. He lifting his hammer high into the air, made lightning strike down in the hammer, and to the shock of everyone watching, a powerful wind appeared around the home. This was followed by a thick storm cloud that was as dark as the night sky. Naruto, putting his hammer back, closed his eyes and went through a few hand signs. He, opening his eyes, felt his cheeks swell. He, calling out his jutsu, spewed out a literal cloud of toxic miasma. He, shaking his hair, made his claws appear and said, "O ye of the great demon dog clan! It is I, Uzumaki Naruto, future Daiokai of the western lands. I ask that my ancestors guard this home and all that inhabit it. I also that you keep Hinata, Hyuga and Tazuna's grandson safe." Naruto, turning around, didn't know it, but the image of Sesshomaru appeared over him, or that a bunch of demon imps were now following his commands. The next day Naruto could be seen guarding Tazuna as he built the bridge. Naruto had his eyes scanning the area constantly, as danger could come from any direction. It seems as his little speech had inspired Tazuna, who had given his workers the same speech, and now they were working hard to build the bridge to their freedom. Naruto was twirling his hammer, ready to do battle at any moment. He then blinked when he heard a worker say that they needed a lot of metal melted so they could continue the bridge. Naruto, walking over to the metal, raises his hammer high and swung it down, making a huge lightning bolt come down, and instantly the metal was melted, shocking the people watching. Naruto, then turning around, went back to watching for any threats. His eyes then moved to the forest when Kurenai and Sakura came out of the forest, scanning the area. Both females, reaching his location, asked, "Any sign of trouble?" Naruto, shaking his head, said, "No, and that's how I like it." Sakura, giggling, said, "Well then, Naruto-kun, we brought you lunch." Naruto, smiling at this, said, "That's mighty thoughtful of you, Sakura-chan, but I cannot accept it, when these workers are hungry and having been working tirelessly all morning." Sakura, hearing this, couldn't help but shake her head and go start feeding the workers. Kurenai, looking over Naruto who was once again scanning the area for danger, went to go help Sakura, wondering what was Naruto's endgame. When all of the workers were finished eating, Sakura walked over to Naruto with a single sandwich and said, "Finally, it's lunchtime for you, Naruto." Naruto, smiling at her, broke the sandwich in half and handed one half to her. Sakura blinked, spotting this, and was about to ask when. Naruto said, "You probably haven't ate anything yet, as you were most likely either training to get stronger or taking your time fixing lunch for everyone. So I'm splitting this sandwich with you." He, smiling, said, "Cheers." Sakura, giggling, started to eat her half of the sandwich. Kurenai, eating her own sandwich, was wondering what was Naruto's plan. Once lunch was finished, Sakura was getting sleepy. Naruto, spotting this, said, "Take a nap, Sakura-chan. I'll watch over you in the bridge." Sakura, smiling, nodded and leaned against him to take her nap. Naruto, smiling at this, allowed for his furry demon tail to cover her up and said, "Have a good nap, Sakura-chan." He then went back to watching the bridge. Later in the day, Naruto could be seen battling against a mass of clones, as Kakashi and the others watched from the side. Naruto, jumping into the sky, blocked a claw strike from one of his clones and said, "Nice try." He then kicked the clone in the chest. He was forced to slam his hammer against a clone's hammer. Naruto, struggling against the clone, smirked and said, "Lightning style, wild charge jutsu." A good number of clones were electrified by this attack. Naruto, landing, twirled the hammer once, deflecting many kunai heading his way. Naruto, then blurring forward, grabbed two clones by their throats and lifted them high into the air. He, bringing them down with force, flinched, getting memories of their necks snapping. Shaking his head, he punched a clone in the stomach and closed his eyes. Opening them, he revealed the eyes of justice. Glaring at the clones, he, sweat dropped when the clones did the same and said, "That's not gonna work on us, dumbass." Naruto, laughing, said, "Yeah, I forgot that we all have the same powers." He then, smirking, said, "Lucky for me, this was all just a big distraction." He, quickly lifting his hand, caught his hammer and slammed it into the ground. This brought down a mighty lightning rest of the clones. Naruto, standing to his feet, turned off his dojutsu and said, "Smart-ass clones, always making me work hard." He, turning to Kakashi and the others, and asked, "So on a scale from 1 to 10, how ready do you think I am to take on 2 of the legendary 7? Kakashi, hopping down, said, "The scales is too small. I'm pretty sure Zabuza and Raiga are going to rue the day they decided to work for Gato." Naruto, snorting, said, "Damn right they are." Sakura, giggling, said, Naruto-kun don't get too cocky. Naruto smiling at her said, I won't, Sakura-chan. Kiba, who picked his jaw up from the ground, asked, when did you get so awesome, Dobi? Naruto, putting his hammer on his shoulder, said, I was always awesome, I just needed the right thing to bring it out. Shino, pushing up his glasses, asked, do you think you stand a chance, Naruto-san? Naruto, looking Shino dead in the eyes, said, Shino, I know we stand a chance. Kurenai, sighing, asked, okay Naruto, what makes you so sure? Why are you so confident on us defeating two of the legendary swordsmen of the mist? Naruto, smiling, said, because I have the eyes of justice, the hammer of Thor, and the authority of the great demon of the western lands on my side. Add that with the skills of the dead man, Kakashi-sensei's Sharingan, Sakura-chan's skills and you guys' skills, and we have a powerful team that will rescue Hinata and Inari. Kakashi, eyes smiling at this, said, plus Naruto is forgetting to mention that if all else fails he can always transform into his great demon form and save the day. Sakura, giggling, said, Naruto-kun wasn't forgetting it, Kakashi-sensei. He was just about to say that if all else fails he'll just transform into a giant fire-breathing, poison miasma-shedding silver demon dog. Naruto, nodding, said, she's right Kakashi-sensei, you need to stop jumping the gun. Kakashi, eyes smiling more, said, someone has to do it, because you aren't a person that likes to brag about himself. Kurenai shook her head at this and wondered what was going to happen tomorrow at the bridge. Kakashi, leading the group to the bridge, smiled as Naruto's plan was flawless. Sakura and Shino would grab Hinata and Inari, while Kiba and Akamaru would defend Tizuna with Kurenai, who wasn't fully healed yet. Kakashi and Naruto would deal with Zabuza, Raiga and any other threats. Naruto had also left some clones behind to protect Tizuna's daughter from any threats Gato sent. He looking towards. Naruto could feel how nervous he was, as he should be, as they were about to engage in battle with two of the 7 swordsmen of the mist. Arriving on the bridge, they weren't surprised to find the workers on the bridge bleeding out. Naruto, shaking his head, took a step forward and said, Momochi Zabuza, this is your one chance to end this peacefully. If you give in now you may live to see another day. The same goes for you, Raiga. Zabuza, snorting, said, I don't know who you are, brat, but you can't defeat me. Raiga, laughing, said, today I give you a funeral genjutsu, mistress. Naruto, hearing this, shook his head again and said, so be it. He then, lifting his hammer up, started to twirl it. Kakashi, already knowing what Naruto was doing, said, Kurenai, behold the power of the god of thunder. Kurenai was confused, until she started to feel a breeze. Her eyes widened when the mist covering the bridge was lifted up by a tornado originating from Naruto's hammer. Zabuza, spotting this, narrowed his eyes. Naruto, sending the tornado away, activated his dujutsu and said, Kakashi, you take on Zabuza. Kakashi, nodding, revealed his Sharingan and dashed towards Zabuza, who was able to barely block Kakashi's kunai. Naruto, dashing forward with his hammer, brought it down on the Kibas. Raiga, smirking at this, said, I'm going to give you a funeral you'll never forget. Naruto, snorting, said, I'm going to purge you of your sins and send you to your death with a bloody smile on your face. The battle then kicked off. Kurenai was shocked as Naruto was proving himself to be a match for Raiga. Kiba was trying to keep up with Kakashi and Zabuza. Kakashi, jumping into the air, cried out, Naruto combination 1. Naruto, appearing with a cut on his cheek, said, right. He, tossing his hammer at Raiga, who tried to block it with his swords, went through 7 hand signs. He, taking a deep breath in, cried out, fire style. Fire dragon jutsu. From his mouth a huge purple dragon made of flames appeared. Kakashi, going through hand signs, cried out, lightning style. Lightning dragon jutsu. The 2 dragons fusing together created a huge orange dragon. Naruto and Kakashi called out in sync, combination jutsu. Raging dragon jutsu. Zabuza, spotting the attack, felt his eyes widen. He, switching places with a log, wasn't prepared for Kakashi to punch him in the face. Naruto, dashing towards Raiga, grabbed Mjolnir and kicked the man in the jaw. Raiga, colliding with the rail, growled. He, standing to his feet, said, take this, brat. Lightning style. Lightning bullet jutsu. Naruto, seeing this, quickly went through his own hand signs and cried out, wind style. Drilling air bullets jutsu. Raiga felt his eyes widen when his lightning bullets were destroyed by Naruto's wind bullets. He really wasn't prepared for a fist to connect with his jaw and send him flying backwards. He standing to his feet growled as he was once again right beside Zabuza. Naruto appearing beside Kakashi said, "Kakashi-sensei combination 5. Kakashi nodding went through hand signs and cried out, "Water style, violent water wave jutsu." Naruto spotting the water wave heading towards Raiga and Zabuza went through hand signs of his own and cried out, "Lightning style, twin-headed lightning dragon jutsu." A huge two-headed lightning dragon appeared and combined with the water wave. Naruto and Kakashi cried out, "Combination jutsu, shocking twin-headed water wave cannon." The attack hitting Zabuza and Raiga made both men cry out in pain. Naruto moving his eyes to the left smiled spotting Sakura and Shino carrying Hinata and Inari towards the others. Zabuza struggling too. His feet blinked when Haku appeared with a broken nose. He scowling asked, "What the hell happened, Haku?" Haku holding his nose said, "Two people surprised us, Zabuza-sama, and rescued the hostages. I'm afraid to say Renmara-san has been killed." Raiga hearing this got extremely upset and asked, "Who killed him?" Haku turning pointed at Sakura and said, "It was her." Raiga hearing this turned to Sakura and said, "I'm going to give you a fucking funeral, you bitch." Naruto hearing how he addressed Sakura growled and actually felt his eyes shift into their demon form. Sakura appearing beside him said, "Naruto-kun, Kakashi-sensei combination 8. Naruto and Kakashi nodding went through hand signs. Kakashi taking a deep breath cried out, "Fire style, Phoenix flower jutsu." Naruto finishing his hand signs cried out, "Earth style, Earth spears jutsu." Sakura going through her hand signs cried out, "Water style, water bullet jutsu." The spears combined with the fireballs turning into molten rock, when hit with the water bullets transformed into steaming spears. Naruto then cried out, "Lightning style, Chidori Nagashi." The spears was then turned into steaming crackling spears. All three people then cried out, "Combination jutsu, Konoha's spears of justice jutsu." Raiga, Zabuza and Haku moved, as the spears collided with the bridge, making the very earth shake. Raiga appearing aimed his swords directly at Sakura who was panting said, "Die you little bitch." Lightning style, Lightning Fang jutsu. Kakashi spotting this, quickly moved in front of Sakura and took the attack. Naruto spotting Kakashi injured growled even louder, knowing that it was just him now as Sakura was still too tuckered out to help him. His eyes then widened as his sentries informed him of the huge army Gato was bringing to the bridge. He cursed at this and was wondering what to do, until he remembered the jutsu he had been working on. Taking a deep breath he created a clone. The clone, nodding, walked over to Sakura and Kakashi. It lifting the two of them up with ease, ran to the rest of the went through hand signs and cried out, "Fuinjutsu, 3 points barrier jutsu." Kurenai and the others blinked when a clear barrier went up around them. Naruto spotting this closed his eyes and waited until he felt Gato and his army arrive. Opening his eyes he glared at all of the thugs, Zabuza, Haku, Raiga and Gato. He going through hand signs said, "It's time for you all to be shown the error of your ways." He finishing the long sequence of seals took a really deep breath and cried out, "Ultimate fire style, Dragon of the Darkness Flame jutsu." Everyone gained wide eyes when a gigantic black dragon came barreling out of his mouth. That dragon got even bigger when Naruto triggered his Ghost Rider form. The dragon letting out a massive roar shook the very bridge from how large it was. Naruto closed his mouth and attached the dragon to his arm. This fueled the dragon even more as it soon transformed from your traditional Eastern dragon to a massive black Western dragon. Naruto then speaking in a deep raspy voice said, "Gato, Momochi Zabuza, Yuki Haku, Kurosaki Raiga. You have committed many sins in your lives. Today you burn for said sins, so says I, the Ghost Rider of Konoha." The dragon then shot forward and started to burn every thug it touched. It reaching Haku snapped its mouth closed on him, gutted Zabuza, speared Raiga and lifted Gato into the air. It roaring again crunched down on Gato. The attack then ended, with Naruto still in his Ghost Rider form tossing the form of Haku to the ground. He grabbing Gato by his barely alive throat looked the man in the eyes and said, "Look into my eyes, Gato. Witness every atrocious act you have ever done. Feel the billions of sins you have done, burn into your soul." He then, creating two clones, did the same to Raiga and Zabuza. All three people screamed in pain as their very souls were slowly being burned. Naruto, once done with that, transformed back into his human form. He, coughing up smoke, shook his head and said, "Damn, that shit burned." He then blinked, feeling something burning on his right arm. He, looking at said arm, gained wide eyes, spotting the tattoo of a large Western dragon. Lower down on his arm, he could see the image of a smaller but still pretty large Eastern dragon roaring. He, taking off his shirt, looked at the shoulder of said arm and was staring the image of a huge raven in the eyes. He quickly realized that he now had two summoning contracts. Dragons and ravens. He guessed doing that jutsu must have bonded him with the Dragon Clan or something. Shrugging, he wasn't prepared for Sakura to bop him on the head. He, rubbing his head, asked, "What was that for, Sakura-chan?" Sakura, with a glare in her eyes, said, "That's for being a baka." She then, kissing him on the cheek, said, "This is for protecting me once again." Naruto, smiling, said, "That's what teammates are for, Sakura-chan." Kakashi, limping over to him, said, "Naruto, the jutsu that you just created is without a doubt a double S rank." Naruto, hearing this, blinked and asked, "You really think so?" Kakashi, looking Naruto in the eyes, said, "Naruto, it started off as a regular jutsu, but then it somehow summoned a dragon to the mortal plane, and you transformed into your Ghost Rider form. It also burned over 700 hired thugs into ashes and cremated Zabuza and Raiga." Naruto blinked, hearing this. Kiba, picking his jaw up from the ground, shouted, "That was TOTTALLY badass." Shino, pushing up his shades, said, "That was the absolute most terrifying thing I have seen in my 13 years of life." Kurenai wasn't saying a thing as she was too busy staring at Naruto's shirtless form. Tazuna and Inari had stars in their eyes. Hinata was drooling, spotting her crush shirtless, with those badass tattoos showing. The villages of Wave, who had shown up during the climax of the attack, were standing there looking at Naruto like he was a god. The spy from Kumo, with shit straining his pants, took off towards his village, planning on begging the Raikage to make an alliance with the village hidden in the leaves and not accept the deal with Orochimaru, as what he just witnessed terrified him to his very core. A few days later, and Naruto was looking up at the statue of him in his Ghost Rider form with his dragon on his shoulder and pointing at something. Statues of Sakura, Kakashi, Kurenai, Hinata, Shino and Kiba could be seen standing behind his statue, all with fierce looks in their eyes. Sakura, standing beside him, asked, "How did you become the god of the village when we all worked to save them?" Naruto, shrugging, said, "If I knew, Sakura-chan, I'd tell you." Kakashi, with an eye smile, said, "I hope the both of you realize this makes our 4th A rank mission." Kurenai blinked, hearing him say this. Naruto, turning to Sakura, said, "I thought this would make our 5th A rank mission." Sakura, giggling, said, "I don't think Kakashi-sensei counts the extermination of the bandit camp as a rank mission." Naruto blinked, hearing this, and said, "But we got paid for it." Kakashi, shaking his head, said, "Yes, but it was logged in as AB rank." Naruto, hearing this, scowled and said, "That sucks." Sakura, giggling, said, "Stop scowling, Naruto-kun." Naruto, stopping his scowling, asked, "Can we do another A rank mission before the Chunin exams?" Kakashi, shaking his head, said, "No, as I'm pretty sure by the time we get back to the village, the Chunin exams will be a week away." Naruto cursed, hearing this, and said, "Damn, I wanted to be the most badass genin in the Chunin exams." Sakura, giggling, said, "Of course you did, Naruto-kun." Kiba, finished reading the statue, said, "That's it, when we get back to the village I'm doubling my training with Mom." Shino, pushing up his shades, said, "Yes, I will be increasing my training with Father." Hinata, poking her fingers together, said, "I will increase my training also." Kurenai, hearing this, wanted to scowl, as this meant that she was going to be seeing a lot less of her students. Naruto, as if sensing this, said, "Sakura-chan, you should ask Kurenai-sensei to help you with your genjutsu." Sakura, blinking, said, "That's a great idea, Naruto." Sakura, turning to the shocked Kurenai, asked, "Kurenai-sensei, will you help me with my genjutsu?" Kurenai quickly nodded and said, "I will be happy to help with your genjutsu." Naruto, turning to Kakashi, said, "When we get back to the village." "Kakashi-sensei, it's finally time for us to get some one-on-one training done." Kakashi, eyes smiling at Naruto, said, You mean it's time for you to learn more jutsu and possibly create some more jutsu? Naruto nodding said, yeah. Sakura sweat dropped hearing this, but shook her head as Naruto was going to be him no matter what. Naruto was about to turn around when he was glomped by Inari, who cried, Ni-chan. Naruto, eyes smiling, said, yo little Inari, what's up my main man? Inari, looking up at him with tears in his eyes, asked, you don't really have to leave, do you? Naruto, eyes smiling, said, sadly I do Inari, but don't worry my team and I will be back before you know it. Inari, holding out his pinky, asked, you promise? Naruto, wrapping his pinky around Inari's pinky, said, it's a promise and I don't break promises. Inari, smiling, said, we never do. Teams 7 and 8 then set out back to their home village. Sarutobi in said village was banging his head against the table as Naruto had done it again. The fucking village hidden in the clouds. We're practically begging for a peace treaty with them, hoping that the Ghost Rider of Konoha would accept their political marriage. He, looking at the paper, asked, who in the 9 rings are Karui and Samui? He, sighing, reached into his drawer and pulled out his secret bottle of sake and said, I'm officially getting too old for this. Shit. If Naruto passes the second exam, I'm making him the Hokage, council be damned. At this moment the door opened and in walked his secretary. The woman, bowing, said, Hokage-sama, council members Hyuga Heishi and Inuzuka Sume wish to speak with you. Also Jiraiya-sama has been reported inside of the village spying on Kunoichi. Sarutobi, hearing this, face palmed and put his bottle away. He motioned for the secretary to send Sume and he is in instantly said, Hokage-sama, I want to know the status of my daughter and her team. Sume, snorting, said, as subtle as a brick Heishi, but he's right. Sarutobi, sighing, grabbed the scroll Kakashi had sent him. Handing it to Heishi, he waited. Heishi and Sume, reading the scroll, felt their eyes widen. Sume, finishing reading first, said, damn that pup of Kushina sure knows how to kick ass. Heishi, putting the scroll down, said, Hokage-sama, I would like to formally request that Naruto-san and my daughter Hinata be engaged. Sarutobi, shaking his head, said, not up to me. You'll have to wait until they get back and ask him. Sume, laughing at the scowl on Hiashi's face, asked, when are they due back? Sarutobi said, in about 2 days. Until then the two of you should read this scroll. He, handing them the scroll from Kumo, watched as Heishi turned red with rage, while Sume started to shake in laughter. Heishi, slamming the scroll down, said, absolutely not. Kumo had their chance to have an alliance with us and tried to kidnap Hinata. Sarutobi, giving Heishi a hard look, said, you think I don't know? I'm just as pissed as you about this, but it's a chance for the village to gain another ally in case someone attacks the village. Heishi was about to say something when Sarutobi asked, would you damn this village, just because of a petty grudge? Are you so foolish as to not let something go, when the person involved in the treaty has every right to hold a grudge against this ungrateful village? Are you saying that Naruto-kun is the only person in the entire village who can forgive? Heishi, who had been shrinking with each word, was feeling like trash. Sume, shaking her head, said, you got my vote, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi, hearing this, nodded and said, thank you, Sume-chan. Heishi, shaking his head, said, you have my vote also, Hokage-sama. Sarutobi, smiling, said, good, and thank you, Heishi. Both people then left the room and Sarutobi asked, you do know that spying on the Hokage's conversations is considered treason? Jiraiya, climbing in through the window, said, sorry sensei. It's just been a while since I've heard you lay into someone like that. Sarutobi, sighing, said, it's because of Naruto. He knows how to change people for the better. He then, spotting the serious look on Jiraiya's face, asked, what is it? Jiraiya, slapping a seal down on the floor, said, Sensei Orochimaru plans on attacking the village during the Chunin exams, with the aid of Suna. Also Tsunade is heading towards with the village with a fully healed Uchiha Makoto, and pissed off Uzumaki Kushina. Sarutobi, hearing this, blanched and asked, how long? Jiraiya, shaking his head, said, my guess is that the 4 of them will be here about the same time Naruto and the others arrive back to the village. Sarutobi, hearing this, licking his lips, said, that doesn't give me much time to prepare the village for their wrath. Jiraiya, shaking his head, said, I tried talking to Tsunade and calm her and Kushina down. She asked me if I had known, and when I answered yes, she nearly killed me, sensei. Sarutobi shivering said, I'm a dead man walking. Then Jiraiya. Jiraiya nodding said, unless Naruto saves you. Sarutobi walking over to his desk pulled out a sheet of paper and started writing. Jiraiya blinking asked, what's that, sensei? Sarutobi not even looking up said, my last will and testament. I'm naming Naruto Hokage and making Konohamaru my heir. I think I'll leave Asuma all of my books. Jiraiya sweat dropping removed the seal and went to go get some research done so he could be out of the village when Tsunade arrived. 2 days later, Naruto could be seen walking through the gates having a conversation with Kakashi about lightning-type jutsu. Sakura was talking to Kurenai about genjutsu and taking notes of everything that came out of Naruto's or Kakashi's mouth. Kurenai was happily telling Sakura everything she knew about genjutsu and trying to figure out if having romantic feelings for a 13-year-old boy was wrong. Kiba was having a conversation with Shino about making some combination jutsu like Team 7. Shino himself was trying to inform Kiba that Team 7 was a combat-orientated team, while they were more on tracking. Hinata was stealing glances at Naruto when he wasn't looking, wondering if she would ever get to see Naruto shirtless again. Akamaru was sitting on Naruto's head wondering if he could convince Sume that Naruto was his true master. Naruto blinked, finding an Enbu on one knee in front of him. He asked, what's up, Kat-san? Kat getting up said, Naruto-san, the Hokage is waiting for your teams in the tower. Naruto nodding was about to head towards the tower when he suddenly remembered something. He turning to Kat asked, Kat, you're a swordsman, right? Kat nodding wondered where this was going. Naruto eyes smiling unsealed Kabikirabocho and handed it to her. He smiling said, there you go, bye. He then took off after the rest of the group. Kat taking off her mask, stared at the marvelous sword in her hands and asked, did he really just give a female swordsman a sword? She putting her hand on the blade shivered and said, he just asked me to be his girlfriend. She running her fingers along the side of the blade she said, with the quality of this sword and the fact that it belonged to one of the swordsmen of the mist. He just asked me to marry him and someday have his children. She standing sealed the sword in a scroll and said, I must go inform my ex-boyfriend Hayate of his upcoming return to being single. She then vanished in a flurry of leaves. Teams 7 and 8 reaching the Hokage Tower were confused as the village seemed very tense for some reason, almost as if they were expecting a great tragedy to occur. This was confusing the hell out of them. Naruto wondering if the old man had finally gone crazy or something. Reaching the Hokage door, Naruto did what he was used to and kicked the door open. He blinked, spotting some blonde-haired lady, some red-haired lady and what looked like a female Sasuke all glaring at Sarutobi, who looked like he was praying for someone to save him. He ignoring the huge amount of killing intent pouring from the three women, Kakashi shaking in fear, Kurenai's wide eyes, the pig on the floor oinking and the man in the corner telling him to run for his life walked in front of the old man, crossed his arms and glared at the three women. Sarutobi spotting this had never been so glad that Naruto was basically fearless. Naruto glaring at the three women said, I don't know who any of you are, but you got 5 seconds to stop glaring at the old man like that or else. Tsunade hearing this cracked her knuckles and asked, or what, brat? Naruto cracking his own knuckles and activating the eyes of justice said, or you come face to face with Konoha's Ghost Rider. Kushina hearing this growled and pulled out her sword and said, move, brat, this old goat needs to pay. Naruto pulling out his hammer growled and said, no he doesn't. Makoto allowing her Sharingan to come into play said, move please. Naruto spotting the Sharingan narrowed his eyes and asked, are you related to Uchiha Sasuke? Makoto blinked and said, he's my son. Naruto hearing this distinctly remembered Sasuke saying that his family was killed all in one night. He couldn't stop the demonic growl that came out of his mouth, or the killing intent that started oozing from his very body. Sarutobi behind Naruto was trying to breathe as Naruto's killing intent was downright deadly. Kakashi trying to breath thought that Naruto's killing intent was monstrous. Naruto allowing his pupil to thin and turn red, while his cornea turned purple. He now with large canine teeth growled at Makoto and said, lady, you'd better have a damn good reason for leaving the Teme alone, and making him believe that he was alone in the world hell-bent on killing Itachi. Makoto trying to get oxygen back into her lungs, said, I never loved him. He was too much like his arrogant rapist of a father. Naruto hearing this was really trying to resist shifting into his Daiokai form as he growled out, "So you condemn the son Ather? He fucking loved you, stupid selfish motherfucking." Kushina, activating her half of the Kyuubi, growled out at him, "Don't you call my best friend selfish?" Naruto, not being able to take it anymore, let out a loud howl that shook the entire village. He could feel his blood baying to kill someone. Kakashi, somehow realizing this, ran up to Naruto and said, "Naruto, stop, you're gonna kill Sakura." Naruto hearing this felt himself calm down. He, taking a few deep breaths, glared at the shocked Kushina, Makoto and Tsunade. He, looking at the panting Sakura, sweating Hinata, holding his heart, Kiba, coughing Shino, and pale Kurenai, walked over to Sakura and asked, "Are you alright, Sakura-chan?" Sakura, getting her air back, said, "Naruto-kun, what in the hell was that?" Naruto, chuckling, said, "It's the pure aura of a great Daiokai mixed with the rage of the Ghost Rider and a little of my bloodlust." Kiba, shaking his head, asked, "Are you telling me that was just a little of your bloodlust?" Naruto, laughing, said, "Kiba, if I unleashed more of my killing intent from here to Kiri would be down on their knees." Shino, hearing this, actually said, "If you'd all excuse me, I need to find a restroom." Kiba, Naruto and Akamaru, sniffing the air, all laughed and said, "Shino shit his pants." Shino, actually blushing, said, "Yes, and it is not funny." Naruto, trying to stay standing, said, "Yes, it's hilarious." Kiba, hearing this, burst out laughing. Shino, glaring at Naruto, went to the restroom. Naruto, ending his laughing, gained his serious face back. Turning to Sarutobi, he saluted the man and said, "Rescue and backup mission complete, old man." Sakura, hearing this, quickly saluted Sarutobi and said, "Team 7 reporting back from our 4th A rank mission." Kakashi, then snapping to attention, said, "Momochi Zabuza, Kurosaki Raiga, and Gato have been eliminated. Wave has been freed and Konoha's Ghost Rider is officially a god now." Sarutobi, arching an eyebrow, asked, "How exactly is he a god, and when did Konoha get a Ghost Rider?" Naruto, snickering, said, "When I burned down that wretched bandit camp. Turns out someone was watching and put me in the bingo book." Sakura, laughing, said, "As for the how, well, Naruto-kun, using his new fire jutsu, summoned a black dragon and pretty much burned over 700 mercenaries and Zabuza's assistant." Sarutobi, hearing this, blinked and asked, "How in the hell did you do this?" Naruto, holding up a finger, reached for the bottom of his shirt and started to take it off, ignoring how Sakura, Hinata and Kurenai had their eyes glued to him. He, once having his shirt off, lifted up his arm and said, "Check out the 2 new tattoos, old man." Sarutobi, ignoring the still shocked Makoto, Kushina and Tsunade, checked out the 2 new tattoos Naruto had. His eyes widened, spotting the dragons. He, looking at Naruto, asked, "Are these what I think they are?" Naruto, smiling, said, "Yeah, it turns out using that jutsu summoned an actual dragon to this plane and it killed all of those people. Apparently she was hungry and scum is her favorite thing to eat." He, shrugging, said, "So she talked to her mother and aunt about me summoning her and feeding her. Apparently they approved of my actions and signed me up as their summoner. When I talked to her last, she said something about getting a familiar or something." He, then going back to saluting, said, "I, being the one who killed Zabuza and Raiga, was allowed to keep their swords. I gave the Kabikirabocho to Katsan." Sarutobi, hearing this, instantly started laughing. Naruto, blinking, asked, "What's so funny?" Sarutobi, trying to stop the tears, said, "Oh, you'll find out soon. Now then, Teams 7 and 8 will be paid for the successful completion of a rank mission. As you all most likely know, the Chunin exams will begin soon, so no missions will be given out until then." Everyone, including the returned Shino, nodded. Naruto, turning to Kakashi, said, "All right, Kakashi, it's time for some intense training. It took me too long to get my body ready for the Darkness Dragon jutsu. Next time I will not have the time, as a bunch of idiots will not be staring at me in awe." So Kakashi, putting his book away, nodded and said, "We'll decrease the time it takes to use it, and maybe work on creating some other powerful jutsu to go with it." Naruto, hearing this, put his hand on his chin as he was walking out and said, "Actually, I was thinking of maybe making a better version of the Lightning Dragon Jutsu, based off the Chidori." Kakashi, nodding, said, "Yes, that sounds like a plan." The 2 were then gone. Sakura, shaking her head, bowed to Sarutobi and said, My apologies, it's just what happens whenever the two of them start talking about jutsu. She then turning to Kurenai asked, "Are you ready to train now, Kurenai-sensei, or do you wish to recover a little before?" Kurenai smiling said, "Come Sakura-san and we will begin your training." Team 8 once Sakura and Kurenai left all said, "Time to get home and kick up our training," as Konoha's Ghost Rider opened our eyes. They then left. Jiraiya walking beside Sarutobi tossed down a bingo book and said, "The kid wasn't joking, he's in the fucking bingo book," as Konoha's Ghost Rider. Sarutobi smiling said, "Yes, Naruto never jokes when it comes to protecting his precious people." He looking out the window said, "He has the will of fire my sensei preached about, not only burning brightly within him, but his very touch can light a fire in anyone's core." Jiraiya smiled at this but blanched when he heard knuckles cracking. Sarutobi also blanched and turned to the three glaring women in front of him. The end. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to subscribe and like this video. See you in the next video.